If you take roll from the left to my right,
Am I left? Yes, I am. Brian Rockoff?
Linda Novak, here.
Randy Brakeman,
Ed Galosh.
Mark Ziso,
Wow.
all present. Call this meeting to order. Adoption of agenda.
Move we adopt the agenda?
Move.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, didn't hear anything. New business? Meg, if you'd introduce the case to us?
Absolutely. So this evening, we have a property over here on Romsey coming to us for a lot coverage variance here. It's particularly a small lot and looking to go ahead and have an expansion here. Let's see. Their new swimming pool and the pool house that are proposed are going to reduce the current lot coverage by replacing most of the non-permeable surfaces with crushed limestone, which of course are permeable. The variance request we're looking for is 4.3% over the required maximum of 25% for maximum lot coverage of 29.3%. I believe we have some applicants here. If you want to come up into the microphone, go ahead and introduce yourself and give us a little summary on what we're looking at here.
Great. My name is Sabrina. I'm with Mosier Design, and I'm here on behalf of the homeowner, Harry Chapman, at 32877 Romsey, to hear and to present to you kind of requesting our approval to exceed the required 25% allowed impervious surface coverage on a property that is currently non-conforming. In this case, we believe we meet the standards for practical difficulty and appreciate your consideration to approve this request. Firstly, the property is already existing non-conforming with its coverages. Instead of adding to this, we actually found ways to reduce the non-conformity by implementing kind of the proposed improvements by approximately 2,176 square feet, which was that, I believe, 4.3% over. For example, we'll be changing the sport court to a highly permeable turf, which we kind of worked with Bill going over to ensure that it was just as permeable as the crushed limestone that you allow in the village. We also decided to make some patio spaces crushed limestone as well to ensure the permeability. And then we added a few kind of hard surface patios. But we wanted to make sure majority of it was permeable and being able to implement this.
So are you putting down a fabric of sorts?
For the turf,
Yeah.
it would be basically the same base as the crushed limestone. So the crushed limestone usually is on a kind of a compacted limestone base to kind of be able to keep it stable. So it would be on that same base, and then limestone sand goes on top of it, and then the turf is secured on top of that. So it's completely draining all the way through.
What type of turf is this? Is that artificial turf?
Yes.
Because I thought that was against the ordinance now, having artificial turf because of the forever chemicals that are in it, that make it.
From the specifications that I sent Bill, he said it was all within the means of the ordinance.
I know Bill spent a lot of time looking
Yeah.
at this and talking with you there.
Absolutely.
He did feel confident that the material that you were proposing would be meeting the specifications to make it permeable and
And not
the
releasing any
ordinance.
chemicals or anything.
We had a case earlier that
Using artificial turf, and it was because of forever chemicals. That was withdrawn, and forever chemical type material has been banned in the village because we're on wells.
I'm not sure.
Do you know what
yet.
material the artificial turf is going to be made out of? Maybe they're a different type of
I'm
artificial
sure it's possible they're a different
turf.
type.
There
Yeah.
are, but I'm not sure that that actually passed.
The banning of the turf?
Right, it was brought to council and council decided not to adopt it.
Yeah,
Well, then they can drink the water.
yeah,
because
that's
that's-
exactly, because that was,
And that would make sense, because I know
discussion.
Bill spent a lot of time reviewing this and talking with you here and
Yeah.
felt confident
He
that
did.
it was allowable.
Yeah, we worked with him back and forth on different brands, and the specific kind of brand that we landed on was one that he was very comfortable with having
So the sports court is still going to be there under a different material?
It'll still be the same shape, but it will not be a hard surface. It'll be permeable.
Yeah, the one that you were talking about, Randy, it wasn't just because of the
Oh, I understand.
surface,
No,
it was the
yeah.
rest of it too.
Well, but we did have discussions about the,
Forever chemicals.
the
The chemical.
artificial turf and the chemicals, and that there were studies that showed that it was leaching into the water table, and of course, we're all on wells, so, it did not make it past council at this point, but
We have to, I hate to say it this way, but as much as I agree with the fact that it's not a good thing, we can't do anything about it.
I understand it. No, I'm not trying to
Exactly. No, we
legislate, just
can't.
trying to point out
Yeah.
what's there and what's not. Do you have can you show up the print on the screen?
It seems to me the homeowner should be concerned about this as well,
And everybody around them.
because the wells, she's gonna have a well, and so this could get into her well.
When you look at the setback on the, it could be in the top part of the screen there,
North is up. Yeah.
and it looks like the pool house is built into the setback. You have a dotted line showing the variance setback right here on the village. And I see a pool house that's, looks like about 80% of it's in the setback.
That is correct.
This is setback. Dotted line.
Yep.
It's way
Probably 75 or 80%.
Is that 10 feet?
11, almost 11, 10, 9 on the one.
Is the asphalt driveway in front staying in place?
Yes, the front is not being touched.
So your reduction from
It's from 34,
34% to 29% essentially comes out of the tennis court area. Is that what you're saying?
yes. Tennis court area, and then kind of reconfiguring the patios up by the house. And then, right now, it's a hard surface that kind of extends past the loggia that's currently there. And then we reconfigured those as well as made those crushed limestone.
Yeah.
see what else is.
So you're getting rid of the pool?
Other pool.
No, the pool is new.
Okay.
There's no
Sports court
existing.
gone, pool in.
No, sports court's there. It's
Right.
just a different surface than was originally.
Hmm.
And so instead of being cement or whatever it was
Where,
going to
where are
be,
you
it is
planning
now
to dispose of the
artificial.
water when they drain this pool? Because there is issues, you know.
So
our-
and so we've implemented a whole drainage system and have a leaching basin installed kind of on that lowest part of the property, kind of in front of the sport court.
You're talking where the wetlands are up in front,
It's
on the
right-
side?
Right here, we've added the leaching basin, so all of this property, basically all of this kind of naturally grades here, so it's continuously going into there, and then the leaching basin kind of helps it dissipate below grade. So we wanted to ensure that,
So it's leaching into their front yard, is that what you're telling me?
Side yard.
no, yeah, it's staying kind of still behind the house, but it goes into a catch basin, and then it naturally percolates through the pea stone base that's around it, kind of naturally back into the ground.
Because that side seemed like it was pretty wet, and is usually always wet from what I've seen.
Well, with the property to the south of it, that is where the culvert on the road, and it kind of naturally gets a lot of water kind of right in this area regardless because of this property here. So it seems like from looking at the contours and the grading, a lot of this property as well as others and the road naturally drain onto that kind of side of the property of both lots.
Here's,
So that leaching place, does it have a cavity or where the water sits?
Where water, so yeah, so it's like a 24-inch catch basin that gets dropped into the ground, and then there's like 6 to 8 foot wide pea stone area below the grass that sits, and then so as the water gets collected into that basin, from the swale as well as any drainage downspout pipes, then it naturally percolates out into that crushed stone and then kind of into the grade down below. It's a way to kind of help collect the water and then let it slowly dissipate out.
And then it's at the lot line, so the neighbors next to them.
There's no one on that side of the property.
Well,
Right
there's another
now.
lot there.
There is another lot, and there's a culvert right underneath the road that shoots out right here, and there's kind of holding water right here. But it is
Street.
along the side of the
What?
property
What's
line,
the other street?
correct?
This is Romney Way right here.
Right,
There's another house right here,
okay.
and there's a lot right here.
Here we
Meg, have we heard anything from any of the neighbors?
No, we haven't.
No letters has been submitted.
No letters, no public comments, no questions or inquiries from any of the surrounding properties.
Just because the lot to the south of them, I don't think there's a house on it,
No.
No,
but that
It's
doesn't
a
mean we
wetland,
can,
It's a non-buildable.
what?
It's always been a wetland. The lot
Yeah, but it's
makes-
still a legal lot.
Yeah,
We can't add water to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It's rough.
So you reduce the lot, the coverage by 5%.
Mm-hmm.
But that really came by adjusting the tennis court.
So yeah, by adjusting the tennis court, and then, like I said, slightly adjusting the upper patios to be crushed stone, those kind of get a little bit canceled out by the pads, but majority is that sport court, and then a little bit of the patio up, existing patio up by the house.
But there's not a pool there now.
No,
Could you adjust the patio size around the pool?
there is, so this is all south, like, this is all lawn around the pool. The only hardscape is the pool house, these 2 chase pads, and then the pool itself. This is all crushed stone on these little patios and landing right here, and then this is an existing, like, loggia up here.
Could the exposed aggregate pads be moved to the other side so the pool house could be moved in a bit to reduce the inclusion onto the
Setback.
setback?
It's something we can certainly look into.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if the classification, the tennis court area is considered as a structure because it's used, it takes up the space. And so your setbacks on both sides look like you've exceeded the maximum you can use. I'm questioning why that isn't down as a variance request.
Sorry?
You've intruded on the setbacks on both sides with the tennis court and with the pool house.
Well, the
And
tennis court was already existing.
I know,
Yeah.
I know it was there, I was saying,
Yeah.
but the pool house was not, and you're
Correct.
limited on, you cannot take a setback on both sides
Mm-hmm.
at the same time to the maximum.
Mhm.
And I don't know if the bill had seen that or not, that's why I'm questioning it. Meg, do you know anything about
Yeah, well, I talked to Bill about it extensively, and when we were talking about it, he was pretty adamant that you guys had been in good conversations and that he had reviewed everything that we were seeing here tonight.
Yeah.
That, you know, given that the lot is already existing non-conforming and providing those constraints, that really his concern and what we were addressing this evening was at 4.3%, that was gonna. take
Understand.
us over. So, I know that he's reviewed it and had some comments. I would be surprised if that would be something that Bill hadn't already discussed with you
Yeah.
if it was a concern, but
Yeah, he didn't mention it to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, we are here to hear.
Yeah, and here's your two
That's
setbacks.
10
on-
feet. Yeah,
Here's, you've got
when
two.
there should be 20.
The question you're asking is, sorry, is why isn't that variance on this
Agenda.
agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it and said, trying to figure that out.
Because the materials that they've changed it to
is permanent.
No, but.
take it out
talking
of
about the pool
this.
house.
Absolutely, the pool house should be on here.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You are many feet into the
Setback.
setback. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Does that still leave any accessibility for DTE and so on to get back in there?
Yes.
Because they seem like they park their trucks over there a lot.
Well, they
Yeah.
certainly can't on the other side.
There's about 11 feet behind the pool house
Yeah, but I'm.
Yeah, but on the other side, there's not. There's maybe 3
for the sport
feet.
court. Are you on the sport court
Yeah.
side? Yeah.
Yeah, there's maybe 3 feet.
And they need to sometimes bring heavy equipment back in there.
Yeah.
Was that variance granted originally for the sport court, since it's
No,
so close?
no, we haven't heard this before.
There's been no mention of any prior,
Yeah,
Prior
that's
variance.
interesting, that's not in the review, right, that there had been
yeah,
a
there's
prior
no, there's
variance?
been no,
Do you know if you had ever had a,
So long ago, I really don't remember.
cause,
It's a long time ago.
'cause that I would be curious about. I mean, of course, the courts was already constructed, and obviously, changing material, making it more permeable, that's great. I'm just curious, based on its positioning, if a variance was granted originally for the sport court.
So where the fire pit and that's gonna be crushed limestone?
Correct.
You know, we don't permit the sport courts necessarily. Is it possible that that was constructed because it didn't require the permit to
Yeah,
put them
because
over
it
there,
doesn't-
and then we wouldn't know
but see,
this?
Right,
what
but
the
if
phrase
you-
that's missing is it doesn't say legally non-conforming.
Uh-huh,
That is not in any of the comments here. So, you know, when we look at it, we're looking at 34.6%
yep,
coverage that's not supposed to exceed 25%. And I can't get answers to that question. And I know they're reducing it by 5%, but it's
Right.
still 4.3 over.
I think when our coverage was originally, what our coverage is, it wasn't 25%. It used to be different
I mean, it
number.
certainly looks from the drawings like the sports court could be moved in several feet closer to the pool. And it also looks like you could move those cement pads to the other side of the pool and move the pool house in a little bit. You know, our problem is not saying, look, you're a nice lady and you should have this, it's pretty, but it's the next thing that comes along and the next thing, because we're setting a precedent with everything that we do.
Well, I can't move the sport court, I mean, it's already been. It would be
Oh,
huge.
it's already in, okay.
It's,
yeah, that's
Yeah,
been there.
it's been there.
Sports court's been there, that's why I'm
Okay.
curious.
Well, what you're saying about the
But you're
sports court is
you're-
you're changing material on the sports court.
Right,
But that's right now it's the plastic, whatever.
on
in
concrete.
Oh, the top part, the
impermeables.
top.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're removing the material that's already
And we're
there.
replacing it.
Okay.
With a
Correct.
permeable surface, but the sports court has already been,
Yes.
installed. How long ago? 10 years?
Yeah, the problem is like with fences, every time you change the material,
Yeah.
it's a non-conforming use. And so every time you change the material, it's like we go through this with fences, that people's fences are falling down and they want to put another one up. But the fence that is there is a non-conforming use, and as soon as you take it down and change the material, that use is no longer available.
But what you're looking at is the coverage of it.
Yeah.
What's currently in the area where the pool's gonna be?
Just grass.
So when it's just grass right now, the property is not legal, is not non-conforming.
No, it is.
It is. It's
is.
all the existing hardscape as it currently sits today is that 34.6% coverage.
And that's because of the patios?
Patios, sport
And
court, the
the
house,
sport
the
court.
front driveway, everything.
Okay. Well, given the house is staying and the front driveway is staying, then we're dealing with what's in the backyard
And the sport court is there.
and the sport court.
But the sport court's nonconformity is decreasing with the permeable
Yeah.
material.
Right, so,
Yeah.
so the permeable material kind of balances out the
Right.
non-permeable.
Exactly.
So the biggest offender, so to speak, at this point is the pool house,
Right.
which is almost entirely in the setback. So, I mean, it would seem that if those pads could be moved over, how many feet do they take up? And how far could that pool house be moved out of the
Setback.
setback?
Yeah, they're 10, so that would bring the 10 out of the setback, or pretty close.
But that wouldn't be ideal for you, because you've got your pool house there, and that's where you want the cement.
Put the pool house in the pool.
Yeah.
No. It's just you've got those two cement pads
I don't
in
care
front
about
of it.
the pads
Yeah,
Yeah.
As much as I don't want the pool house in the pool.
really.
Yeah.
I can understand.
In between there.
Think of it as a swim-up bar.
Could they move the pool house and make it smaller?
If this goes in and this goes over close to the sport court.
That's what I'm saying. If these pads go here, this can move in. If these are 10 feet, that takes it entirely. I mean, it's not gonna take it entirely, but
'Cause you
you're
want a-
gonna be talking
you want a
about
path in front of
a
it.
couple of feet instead
Well,
of,
if you
8
move the
feet.
pool itself closer to the sports
Sports
court.
court.
Rotate it 90 degrees.
you can do that?
Rotate it 90 degrees.
You can't do that.
No.
Like the way architecturally it looks.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, we're just,
Design.
Yeah.
I mean, no question that we're, increasing the permeable surface space by replacing the material that the sport court is made out of. But the other question that has now come up that I haven't heard from Bill on is the fact that the pool house is setting so much in that setback.
I mean, it's still within our fence line, and there is plenty of space. I
But it's
mean,
a
TT doesn't necessarily come through our yard, they always go on the other side of the fence.
It's a side yard setback, which you have on each side of the property. And where the sports court is, you're way into it, you're almost at the line. And on the other side, you've encroached heavily. So there's a limit to what you can do. You can't do both sides at the same time and use up all the setback.
Yeah, it's not a matter of safety or somebody being able to get back there. It's
It's
a
space
matter of
between neighbors.
what the regulations are in Franklin for setbacks for corners, side yards, front and back.
So if we were to table today, would we need to could we update what our application is currently sitting to add in the setback? I'll have to review with Bill and just verify.
Just a question,
Yeah.
though, like, you have been working with Bill, and he didn't have an issue with it, and
Yeah.
none of the neighbors had an issue with it.
Well, it's
You
not
don't
really
have
an
the answer.
issue. The neighbors are,
I mean,
if
everyone's kind of far apart.
I understand that.
it's still a non-conforming. I'm just seeing if I can get Bill really quick.
Where's the well located?
Looks like it's out,
In front of
one
the
out
house.
front.
It's in the front.
Okay.
Yeah, existing well is right here, in front of
Mhm.
house.
Yeah, there it is.
And where's the septic field, or is it pressure
There's
sewer?
not.
Maybe the septic is in the front.
I don't believe.
Are you on the pressure sewer, or
You're not.
you don't know?
Septic? Well,
You are on
Well,
septic?
Yeah.
then the
she's
question
not.
is, where is the septic field?
I'm not sure.
I think the septic might be in the front.
That would make
No.
sense.
Sanitary's there.
It would be,
sanitary.
No.
it's
Here,
contrary, usually
Sanitary's here.
the septic's in one area and the well's not next to it.
Right, no, I know, that's why I'm saying maybe the well is somewhere else.
Your well is in the front.
Well's
That's
in the
on
front.
here.
Leaching basin here.
So
You're
Bill
right
is
here.
saying that the pool house only has to be 10 feet from the side or rear yard as an accessory building.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Bill Denton is saying that the pool house is only required to be, the setback for that is only
10 feet.
10 feet from
Okay.
the side or rear yard as an accessory building.
Okay, so it is.
And so by that, if that's a standard, then the pool house is within that, and
Yeah.
that would be why Bill hadn't brought that up.
Okay.
Thus, why in the report, we're looking at, you know, that's not part of the variance that we're requesting.
Okay.
And instead, it's the lot coverage that we're looking at, which we are reducing the nonconformity, you know, from the 34 down to the 29.
Correct.
Existing septic.
And so the variance is for that, what is it, 4.3?
4.3,
Okay.
yep.
Why don't they have a septic tank?
Yes, thank you.
What is that? Existing sanitary.
Is there any way to get it down below the 4.3?
Hmm?
To get the variance request down below the 4.3?
Existing sanitary something.
No, I mean, if he's okay with it, the
In-
sports
in the-
field's already there.
Well, I'm not
which
saying
is
it is.
within
Yeah,
the 10
because it's
feet,
here
so-
too.
And they're using a different material.
Got a question.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to use that
When you were
material.
drawing
What?
there,
I wouldn't want to use
down
that
at the
material.
bottom,
If they do,
you've got, where's,
Just really
existing
nothing.
sanitary something and
Nothing I
then
can
existing
see, no.
sanitary something again.
all right.
What is?
Those are existing sanitary manholes. So those are existing. We're not proposing anything. That's just what's currently on site.
Who's using those?
That's just that when the civil engineer goes out there, he just notes everything that's existing.
So are they hooked up to anything?
We'll have to look, but as of right now, I don't.
So Bill is saying that had the pool house really required a variance for that setback, that he would have denied it right away and wouldn't have even recommended it to ZBA. Because the pool house only has to be the 10 feet, and it was accommodating that, and we were reducing the nonconformity by changing that material, is why it's over here and recommended.
He doesn't consider the sports court a structure then?
Yeah,
He does not?
no,
Then really what we're talking about is a very minimal,
yes.
Coverage variance.
In fact, a request that's reducing the nonconformity
We have
too.
four septic. And the well is in the front to the left.
You said what for the septic?
We have four septic.
Oh, pressure sewer?
No, septic.
No, septic.
Oh,
Four sewer, I'm sorry. He said four sewer, no septic. And the well is in the
Ah,
front.
okay,
You're
so
on the-
there is a
you're on the
septic.
pressure
You are
sewer.
on-
Okay,
Sorry.
no, that's helpful.
Make a
That makes
motion.
more
That
sense.
explains why there's manholes and stuff that's there and
What?
useless.
No,
So you are on the pressure.
We
Yes,
have
That,
to word it
that's why
such
we're
a,
gonna handle
Do
that.
what?
we have to word in such a way as reducing the nonconformity by doing this project. Let's go to finding of facts then.
Okay.
Are there any additional comments? Do you have any more additional comments? Any questions from the board at this point?
I make one additional comment. I know, okay, we take very good care of our yard. I know you have no doubt of that. And we're just trying to prove it and enjoy our home more.
Oh, I understand that.
No, I know, I'm just telling you, like, and we will continue to do that. So, we've been in Franklin for a long time. We love our home.
Okay. If there are no other questions, I'd like to move to finding of facts and to clarify for you, our procedure is very simple. We had the introduction of the program, in the case before us, and you've had a chance to talk. There's no public here to ask for public comments. We have questions from the board. If they have any, we air those publicly. Then, at this point, we close discussion, and we'll have what's called a finding of facts, and we'll state facts on which we will vote on the entire group finding of facts, and those facts are what we'll base our decision on. So it's not an arbitrary decision, it's based on fact. And then, at that point, we'll entertain a motion from the board on what we want to do at that point. It has to be in the affirmative, and we'll have to correct it if it's not in the affirmative. So, based on that, I'm open to discussion of finding of facts.
Simple as in zoning RL.
The sports court, the material has been changed, so it is now permeable, so will not
It's proposed to be changed to a permeable,
propose to be changed to a permeable surface.
which would be required in any variance.
And also, pool house is in fact in conformity in allowing 10.76 feet for an accessory building
Yes.
In the setback.
In the setback, side setback.
in the setback.
I'm gonna try and word this correctly.
Please do.
The requested variance from current ordinance is a 4.3% additional coverage of non-permeable surface. However, that is an improvement from the existing nonconformity of 34.6%, by changing the sport court and by changing of patio materials to a permeable material, which would allow the water drainage.
I think you got that right.
Well said.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good job
Yeah.
on needle threading.
It's not legal jargon, just trying to clarify what's going on here,
I hate to do
because
this, but I have to go call a neighbor and my phone is in the car, so my house does not burn down. Oh, excuse me. Let me go call my neighbor.
we'll take a break for a minute.
Excuse me. I'm very sorry, but I'm fond of
We
my
appreciate you
house.
coming, don't burn down the house.
So we
I haven't heard
assuming
it moved,
that
it's still
the
there.
aggregate's gonna be safe.
Cement roofs, steel roofs,
What's for dinner?
aluminum roofs, but not asphalt if they're forever chemicals, because that drains off over the years and causes problems.
And currently in our ordinances, we're not regulating that material away from turf.
What we need to regulate is the forever, the use
Yeah.
of any materials that have forever, that are built with
Yeah.
forever chemicals,
Substitute? Thank God.
They tried it.
because we want to live longer.
Not to me, I'll live one use matzo balls.
Oh, I make
Okay.
Okay, are we back?
So what are you cooking? We need to know, we need to sample, okay?
A cake. I had a cake in the oven. I've
Oh.
got my family coming.
Oh,
so
okay.
Tomorrow night, so, yeah. I
Okay.
put it in and I couldn't pull it out, so. Thank you for indulging me.
Thanks for
I'm
coming.
fond of my house. I have great neighbors. It's the best thing about Franklin.
Yeah, we like
Go
to do
in,
that.
here's where my hot pads are. Get the cake out.
All right, so I think we're back here, 7:50.
Now with,
I'm just thinking of the,
yes,
trying to think if this, we need any other facts, or are we there?
well, we don't have to state the obvious, it's not an historic district, okay?
Right.
We have not had any comments from neighbors, pro or con. It has been properly published and been given notice to people, and we've had no public hearing here to make comments whatsoever. So those bases have been covered. And I guess the question is, do you feel there's enough information to vote on, to have a motion and decide? Do you have enough information to make a decision on?
I do.
Gentlemen?
I'm good.
Make the motion.
I need a motion.
I move we consider, let's see, I'm trying to think of the right wording, and you did the affirmative. I move that we approve this variance.
Then we move that we approve the request for variance.
Request for, yes,
And
whatever.
grant the variance of 4.3%
The
over
variance.
the required 25% minimum. Have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
All right, thank you everyone for being patient while we sorted that out. I'm sorry our building official was just this evening.
I have been saying that
Okay.
for 2.5 years.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I don't know how I missed
Don't they have
it.
your personal email sent?
Send it.
We're not done, let's finish it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, wait a second, we gotta vote on the prior minutes.
I move we accept the prior minutes.
No, I think I got an error on that, because there was, Dana, you showed there was not many, there was only a few people absent, but wasn't there a person who was on council now that was on our board? Other than that, I guess we're all set.
What was it, Randy? Who were you looking at?
I thought there was someone else missing from the
I
last
don't even
meeting.
have it.
I don't think so.
Absent. Bill
There should be 9, and there's 8.
Linda, Brian, no. Oh, Quincy.
Oh,
But was he at the last meeting?
No.
Yeah, he was. Quincy was at the last meeting,
we
wasn't he?
didn't have 6. Did we have 6 voted last time? I don't think so.
Well, they showed Quincy on
They show Quincy present.
Quincy was here last time.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I think he was.
Are we good?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I move we adopt the minutes of the last meeting. Second.
Moved and
Second.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Accept the motion to close the meeting.
Move we close the meeting.
Moved and seconded, thank you, we're done.
Second.
Oy vey, oy vey, oy vey.
Road.
I'm cool now. I'm